Chicago-born rapper Lil Durk appeared before a federal judge in Florida this morning.
Chicago-born rapper Lil Durk appeared before a federal judge in Florida. This morning, the court date finally came, and Lil Durk had to face the judge. Chicago-bred rapper Lil Durk is now facing charges in connection to a murder-for-hire plot. But what went down in that courtroom had everyone talking in a twist no one saw coming. Durk reportedly snitched on his top shooter, the one tied to the attempted hit on Rondo, the same Durk who built his whole image on loyalty and street codes, just flipped the script. So what's this going to mean for his rep? Can Durk really come back to the rap game talking his talk when everyone knows he broke the code, or is this the beginning of the end of his run as one of the most respected voices in hip-hop? Stay tuned to find out all the details. Court appearance. Lil Durk's situation has taken an unexpected twist, and it's speculated that the Chicago rapper may have flipped on one of his most trusted shooters, the team he built. Only the family has always been about loyalty, but now that loyalty is under serious question, prosecutors are looking at London Grant, aka Vonnie, as a key figure in the murder-for-hire plot that has Durk facing a potential life sentence. The feds hinted that Durk may have thrown Grant under the bus to save himself. Grant wasn't just another member of OTF. He was the guy who allegedly got their dirty deeds done. Prosecutors claim he flew into Los Angeles on a private jet ready to handle business. Once there, Grant reportedly arranged hotel rooms for the crew, bought ski masks to keep everyone anonymous, and provided 2 luxury sedans to make moves. But the most critical detail, he allegedly armed the crew with firearms, including a fully automatic machine gun. If anyone was in deep, it was Grant, and the fact that he's now a major focus of this case raises eyebrows about how his name got to the top of the list. The situation gets even murkier when you consider the other players involved. Dantrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Brian Lindsay, and Asa Houston were all part of the crew that prosecutors say stalked Rondo and his cousin Savaya Robinson across Los Angeles from the moment they landed in San Diego. They were on a mission funded and coordinated by Durk himself. But now with Grant in the hot seat, people are asking if Durk may have given up information to shift the focus off himself. The feds are coming hard with evidence, claiming the group tailed Rondo's Cadillac Escalade all day from a dispensary to a clothing store before making their move at a Beverly Center gas station. Houston allegedly parked the getaway car while Jones, Lindsay, and another unnamed associate opened fire, killing Robinson in a hail of bullets. Prosecutors say this was a calculated hit orchestrated by Durk, but carried out by his most loyal enforcers. And yet, with Grant now singled out as a top defendant, the question is, will Durk admit to giving them that name? The streets are ruthless, and loyalty in OTF has always been a cornerstone of its identity. But if Durk really did name drop Grant, it would mark a shift in everything OTF stands for. Grant, known for his role in keeping the operation moving smoothly, has become a pivotal piece of the case. Some are speculating that Durk's legal team might be using Grant's alleged actions to paint Durk as less involved, possibly as a way to reduce his own sentence. The idea that the mastermind of OTF could turn on his own shooter is something no one saw coming. Durk stood in court with all eyes on him, his reputation, career, and freedom hanging in the balance. The rapper pleaded not guilty to federal charges in connection with the murder-for-hire plot that prosecutors claim targeted his rival Rondo. It was a moment that confused the courtroom, not just because of the charges, but because of what felt like an undercurrent of something unspoken, an apology perhaps. But the question is, who was Durk really apologizing to? The allegations against Durk are heavy, no doubt. The charges include conspiracy, murder for hire, and firearms violations, each carrying the potential for a life sentence. Durk's courtroom appearance was measured, almost somber, as he entered his plea. He didn't deny the charges outright, but instead delivered what many interpreted as a veiled apology. Some people are speculating that this wasn't just about the case. It might have been about something deeper, like the fallout within his own circle. There are whispers that his team, the same crew he built from the ground up, is feeling the heat. If there's any truth to the rumor that Durk gave up key information on his top shooter, that apology might have been aimed at OTF. As the feds have laid out their narrative like a blueprint, flight records, credit card transactions, and even text messages allegedly tied Durk to the operation. One particularly damning text reportedly sent by Durk reads, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." Prosecutors argue that this was a direct attempt to cover his tracks, but it also raises questions about how much of this came to light and why. Now, with Grant at the center of the case, some are wondering if Durk's apology was an admission, not of guilt, but of betrayal. Did he give up Grant's name to protect himself, or is the federal narrative just another ploy to divide and conquer? Prosecutors are even pulling from Durk's music to build their case, citing lyrics from his 2022 track Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy as evidence that he used LB's death to fuel his artistry and profit from violence. It's a controversial angle, one that blurs the line between creative expression and real-life consequences. But the inclusion of these lyrics paints a picture of someone who, in the government's eyes, might have used his platform to glorify and capitalize on street life. Durk's fans say India stepped into the spotlight in a big way, standing by her man as he faces charges that could change everything. India, known for her strong social media presence and her unwavering support for Durk, was spotted outside the Miami courthouse after the rapper's most recent hearing. Her presence was a statement loud and clear: she's not going anywhere, no matter how heavy the allegations get. India has been by Durk's side through it all. The two have been engaged since 2020 and share a daughter, Willow. Their relationship has been a cornerstone of Durk's public persona, often featured in his music and social media posts as a symbol of loyalty and love. But with Durk now caught in a legal storm, her support is being tested in ways no one could have predicted. When DJ Academics posted a photo of India leaving the courthouse, fans quickly took notice. Dressed simply yet confidently, India looked like she was ready to face whatever came her way. Some said her appearance symbolized her role as the backbone of Durk's life, holding it together as the weight of federal charges looms over him. But others speculated about what her presence might mean for the case. Was she there just as a supporter or partner, or could her role extend further into this legal defense? Her courtroom appearance added a personal layer to the proceedings, reminding everyone that behind the headlines and charges is a man with a family, a fiancé, and a young daughter. For fans, it was a moment that humanized the situation, showing that while Durk might be fighting for his freedom, his family is fighting right alongside him. Meanwhile, reports revealed that two of Durk's co-defendants had waived their detention hearings, clearing the way for their transfer to Los Angeles. This move signals that the case is moving full steam ahead, with federal prosecutors ready to build their narrative. But Durk is no stranger to loyalty, and his father stepping into the courtroom to support him in the midst of these heavy charges speaks volumes about their bond. But what really turned heads was Durk's statement of support for his dad, a rare glimpse into the personal side of the Chicago rapper who's now entangled in allegations that could cost him his freedom. In the middle of this whirlwind of legal drama, seeing his father stand by his side was a moment of humanity in a case that's been anything but. Durk's father, who has always been a quiet figure in the background, made a surprising appearance outside the Miami courthouse, walking alongside Durk's high-profile attorney Alex Ubeda. He stood tall, showing that family loyalty runs just as deep as the street loyalty Durk often raps about. Releasing a heartfelt message, Durk said that his dad has always been the backbone of his family, someone who's seen the streets but has always kept his principles. His support for Durk now means everything. But let's not forget the context here. Durk's defense team has been gearing up for what promises to be a high-stakes trial. His father's presence in court isn't just emotional support. It's a reminder of the values Durk was raised with, values that might play a role in his defense. Whether this show of family unity will make a difference in the courtroom remains to be seen. As the legal battle heats up, all eyes will be on the rapper, his family,
charges after a man was shot outside the varsity in February. The man survived.
But
Banks turned himself into police
Durk's
yesterday.
past isn't exactly squeaky clean. The courts could dig into his old charges and use that to pin this on his previous crimes. In 2011, Durk, then just a young artist trying to carve his path, found himself in deep waters when he was caught with a loaded nickel semi-automatic handgun with a defaced serial number. That arrest marked the beginning of a string of legal issues that vividly depicted the difficulties Durk encountered as a child growing up on Chicago's South Side. According to the story, Durk fled and dropped the pistol under a car before sneaking into a nearby house, where they found him sitting coolly on the couch while the cops were pursuing someone else, acting as though nothing had occurred. But the weapon was found, and Durk was prosecuted. The charges were substantial. Carrying a handgun with a defaced serial number is not a minor infraction that would be dismissed easily in court. After reaching a plea agreement, Durk admitted to one count of aggravated unlawful use of a weapon in 2012 and was sentenced to 1 year in jail. Durk found himself back in difficulty when he was attempting to put his life back together. When the police arrived on a call about a man with a gun 2 years later in 2013, he was caught in an incident straight out of a movie in Inglewood, Chicago. Durk was standing close to a car when the officers arrived, and he threw a loaded .44 caliber revolver into the car. But the move wasn't smooth enough to evade the law. The weapon was found, and Durk was arrested once more. This second arrest was more severe because Durk had already been convicted of a crime, raising the stakes significantly. He was charged with unlawful use of a weapon by a felon, and his legal issues were worsening. What's crazy is that Durk wasn't just another kid caught in the middle of all this. He was still working to advance his profession. He was a talented and ambitious artist who could have been the voice of his community in a way that went beyond violence. But those early arrests set a precedent that would follow him for years, feeding the narrative that would both inspire his music and haunt his personal life. It appears that Durk's legal issues had a cascading effect, with one issue dropping after another. The rapper was scheduled to perform at NASA Stadium in the Bahamas in 2019 as part of a missed concert lawsuit worth $350,000. However, things took a turn for the worse when he was charged with a felony related to a shooting in Georgia that year. The charges caused significant repercussions for his business, with promoters claiming the rapper's legal troubles left them high and dry. Before booking Durk for the gig, the promoters claimed they did their research and contacted his team to ensure there were no legal obstacles. However, the Atlanta shooting case, in which Durk was charged with firing a gun from a moving vehicle during an alleged robbery outside the Varsity, hung over his head. This is where things get complicated. According to this promoter, they gave Durk's crew $24,000 up front and further invested in billboard advertisements. However, immigration allegedly denied him ENT, and the performance never took place. When Durk was unable to make it, the promoters claimed he not only pocketed the money, but also allegedly demanded an additional fee. They were all there, anticipating Durk to fill the stadium. In addition to the initial amount they had previously agreed upon, the promoters had to pay $200,000 to reschedule the event. They then sued Durk for $350,000 for breach of contract, claiming they were left in the dark and had not received any refunds. Ariel Mitchell, Durk's lawyer, has responded by calling the lawsuit baseless and accusing the opposition of failing to obtain Durk the required visa to enter the nation. According to Mitchell, the entire case is a ploy to take advantage of the fact that Durk was recently cleared of the 2019 allegations. This litigation was just one more phase in Durk's continuous struggle to reconcile his history and profession, while his music continues to top charts and his impact in hip-hop remains undeniable. The promoters claim that Durk's actions, or lack thereof, cost them a lot of money and damaged his reputation. If they win in court, it will be another financial blow to Durk at a time when he is already struggling for his career and freedom. As hip-hop evolves, the shadow of street life and legal issues keeps resurfacing. Durk famously told a judge that he would never see the inside of a courtroom again, with a capital N, fast forward to the present, and the trouble began on what appeared to be a typical day when a Chicago gang task force arrived at a house where Durk was allegedly involved in investigating a homicide. However, officers claimed they saw Durk in the kitchen, and rather than directly linking him to the case, they discovered something else. When asked about the firearms, the officers moved quickly because they saw not one but two firearms in the open, a Springfield .45 with 13 bullets and a Glock .45 with 11 live rounds. Whether or not he truly stated that his operations were constantly trying to seize his bands, Durk purportedly replied with his streetwise justification for his thoughts. During this case, Durk famously made his courtroom vow, boldly declaring that he would never again appear before a judge. "You can put a capital N for never again," he said, seemingly ending that chapter of his life forever. The report remained, and so did the charges. For someone with a prior felony conviction, even being in the same room as firearms is a surefire way to get into serious trouble. At the time of this most recent arrest, Durk was almost finished with his parole for an earlier conviction related to an arrest for aggravated unlawful use of a weapon in 2011, which had already contributed to his reputation as someone with one foot in the streets and the other in the studio. However, despite all the hits and accolades, life, especially in Durk's world, rarely has clean endings. The courtroom is familiar to Durk, but this time it feels more serious for someone who previously said he was done with courtrooms forever. This turn of events almost seems like a cruel joke. His past keeps drawing him back into legal drama. Will his history ultimately catch up with him, or will he be able to walk away again? There is no doubt that the capital N he once promised now seems to represent never say never, as Durk's past is coming back to haunt him and will undoubtedly affect his career. Even his local Heroes Foundation, which assisted in elevating Durk's standing in his town, is now severing ties as his world continues to fall apart. Only a few weeks prior, the rapper was honored with city keys from Bellwood and Bellwood Villages, which are close to Chicago, in recognition of his work through the foundation. However, all of that goodwill vanished as soon as Durk's name made headlines for reportedly planning a hit on Quando Rondo. Not wasting any time, Katrina Thompson, the mayor of Broadview, revoked the rapper's honorary key to the city. Therefore, please find attached your key. We are grateful that you are in the village of Broadview. While accepting that everyone is deemed innocent unless proven guilty, she made it plain in a forcefully worded statement that the village expects its public partners to adhere to unwavering norms of behavior. She also noted that the court of public opinion plays a role in how figures in the community are perceived. According to her, people in her community have different perspectives and want better behavior from those they look up to as role models. The decision was made in the midst of growing criticism, which began even before Durk was arrested. Social media was ablaze with comments saying the key should have gone to local heroes like Teachers First. The arrest only fueled the flames, forcing Broadview's leadership to distance themselves from Durk and his organization. However, it doesn't end there. The Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, a cornerstone of Durk's efforts to give back to his community, also appeared to be in jeopardy. Responders or community advocates are not typically rappers with a well-documented history tied to street life. The nonprofit that had assisted in funding scholarships, providing resources for underprivileged youth, and launching initiatives to reduce gun violence was now on shaky ground. Because of its association with Durk, it had become a lightning rod for criticism, threatening to undo all the good it had done. The irony here is that Durk's work through the foundation was meant to demonstrate that he had made progress in overcoming the violence and chaos of his past, becoming a symbol of hope. But the accusations against him present a different picture, one that is difficult to reconcile with his reputation as a community leader. First, reports indicate that an OTF member may have flipped on him, wearing a wire and providing federal agents with information. Durk's world has completely changed, and it's not only because he was charged with murder. He now faces the truly astounding OTF jam. According to court filings, OTF jam, a long-standing member of Lil Durk's Only Family crew, allegedly turned snitch and worked with the FBI for years while wearing a wire and gathering evidence. This isn't merely some casual treachery. Jam, who was freed in 2022 after serving a 12-year sentence for attempted murder, allegedly provided crucial information that is now jeopardizing Durk's freedom. This kind of betrayal shakes the foundation of a crew like OTF, a group built on street loyalty and brotherhood. But this is where it gets even worse. Jam wasn't merely throwing intel at random. According to reports, he directly accused Durk of planning the scheme. The feds didn't just stumble upon this case, they pulled it together piece by piece, and Jam was said to be one of their main sources.
12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000.
Right.
This. Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case, but eventually he flipped.
Jam was close enough to Durk to even collect this type of evidence, which is a wound that will take time to heal. Together with the mayor's public breakup of relations, this treachery and his foundation's troubles demonstrate how the rapper has grown more and more alone. Even those who once wanted to support him are now turning away, not wanting to endure the storm for Durk. The consequences are mounting, including the loss of the city's key. The key isn't merely symbolic. It's a blow to Durk's reputation as someone who could bridge the gap between the community and the streets. It makes one wonder if his attempts to gain legitimacy were ever enough to help him escape either his past or whether it was always going to catch up with him. Large-scale brand partnerships are just the beginning of the ripple effects. As this case progresses, community projects and even fan support may suffer. Durk's name was originally associated with perseverance and resilience, but now his reputation is being dragged through the dirt. Even if his team attempts to deflect the situation, his standing in the public eye has suffered irreparably. The industry is keeping a careful watch on him. Whether he battles his way out of this or faces the repercussions more deeply, this kind of fallout feels like uncharted territory for someone like Durk, who has built his career on commitment and genuineness. One thing is evident: public opinion can be as harsh as the courtroom itself. The events leading up to Lil Durk's arrest resemble a hip-hop saga transformed into a courtroom drama, with the Chicago rapper's chances of a comeback hanging in the balance. From street brawl to federal charges, for someone who built his empire on street loyalty and unadulterated genuineness, the events that have transpired not only threaten his freedom, but also have the potential to alter the course of his entire career. This might be Durk's most difficult challenge to date. The story began with the tragic death of King Von in 2020, which shook Durk's circle and sparked long-simmering tensions with Quando Rondo. The passing of King Von from Rondo's camp wasn't just a personal loss for Durk. It served as the impetus for a sequence of events that, according to the prosecution, culminated in a planned revenge scheme. Fast forward to August 2022, when Rondo's cousin El Poo was killed in the streets of Los Angeles. Authorities claimed this was a well-planned attack on Durk's team, not a random act of violence. By October 2024, the government dropped the hammer, taking Durk and 5 OTF associates into custody. While Durk's defense team may claim innocence, the charges are severe. The legal ramifications of murder for hire are seismic. Convictions for such crimes typically carry life sentences with minimal to no chance of parole. The evidence against Durk, according to the prosecution, is damning: financial records, explicit texts, and a paper trail allegedly linking him to the operation could prove disastrous in court. The stakes couldn't be higher. Even worse for Durk's career, fans were eagerly awaiting new tours and musical collaborations. But now that a trial that could last months or years is imminent, Durk faces a significant setback. Long-term absences from the game run the risk of costing him more than just a decline in popularity. They might also cause him to lose his fan base, industry contacts, and the momentum he has built over the years in a field where reliability is crucial. Be a career killer. Officially put on hold is Lil Durk's much-awaited album Deep Thoughts. and the ripple effects might be more significant than anyone thought. The project, which was initially scheduled to launch on October 18th, now seems to be postponed, with a revised estimated release date of November 22nd appearing on streaming services like Apple Music. Although Durk has not publicly acknowledged the postponement, the industry and fans are already taking notice of the delay. Both insiders and fans have been anticipating Deep Thoughts since teasers like the single monitoring, so a delay like this isn't just a small annoyance for an artist like Durk, whose momentum has been consistent for years. After Durk Grammy-winning hit All My Life featuring J. Cole, it was anticipated that I and the excitement around my collaborations with Huno Hit the Streets would continue his run. But now, though with legal issues looming and his reputation associated with scandal, the timing of the album's release could jeopardize all of that. This project was necessary for Durk to solidify his supremacy in the rap industry. In order to remind fans of his success and maintain his name on streaming charts and playlists, Deep Thoughts was intended to be both a creative expression and a financial decision. Today, the album remains a hit every other week where his audience would become disinterested in a dangerous, fast-paced profession like hip-hop. The story that surrounds the CD is even more remarkable. Only a few days before the postponement, Durk teased images. Fans were eager to see Durk confront his difficulties head-on, and they were ready for that moment of vulnerability and connection. Durk was spouting songs that alluded to the chaos in his life in front of London's famous Big Ben clock tower. His audience's financial situation is on pause. The stakes are equally high since album delays imply more than just agitated fans. They also represent lost revenue from streaming, merchandise sales, and concerts. Buzz is negatively impacted when for someone like Durk, whose brand transcends beyond music, the project is delayed. His Local Heroes organization and every missed release date for other ventures erodes the empire he has established.
But the symbolic gesture was met with backlash even before news of Lil Durk's latest arrest on murder-for-hire charges.
Fees because competitors are fast to fill the gap left by a postponed project. Sponsors and partners may be reluctant to cooperate with an artist whose schedule isn't set in stone. Artists were able to predict Durk's demise and seize the opportunity without hesitation. Nearly a year before Durk's arrest really occurred, FBG Buddha foresaw it.
It's just like the evidence they had on Shorty and they had on Durk too, that you just paid to get your brother killed.
However, the possible effect on his fan base is arguably the most worrisome element. Although Durk's core supporters have supported him through his highs and lows, even the most devoted followers can become impatient, and delays frequently cause a rift, particularly when there's no. It's easy to see how the delay could cause some listeners to doubt Durk's ability to keep things on track, but this isn't the case. Clearly communicating the reasons why the project isn't dropping, together with the reality that his legal issues have already damaged his reputation, Durk's had to deal with difficulties in his career for the first time, but now since consistency is crucial in the market, walking away for too long runs the risk of alienating both die-hard fans and casual listeners. His 2023 album, Almost Healed, was a demonstration of his tenacity through his partnerships with industry titans like Morgan Wallen and future Lil Baby Alicia Keys. Deep Reflection was meant to build on that momentum, but it now ran the risk of revealing that Durk's might change while remaining loyal to his roots. Delays are annoying, but they aren't career killers if managed properly. Durk and his crew might have utilized this time to strengthen the album's story or tighten it up. Instead, it became a footnote instead of the headline. Marketing plan fans are currently put in limbo as they wait for Deep Thoughts to return, but the time is running out and the pressure is on to provide not just an album, but a declaration that demonstrates Durk's position at the top of the game is untouchable. Determine whether Deep Thought will achieve its revised release date or experience more delays and severe financial damage due to lost tour revenue and canceled sponsorships. Durk might lose the money that the music industry depends on as a result of these charges' ripple consequences. Prominence, and with his name associated with such grave accusations, many brands and collaborators may avoid him. Even his Local Heroes Foundation, which is a pillar of his community service initiatives, has withdrawn itself, further damaging his reputation. Durk's reputation, because of his life experiences and the persona he has developed, the weight of these accusations feels heavier. His journey from Chicago's Englewood neighborhood to Grammy winner wasn't only about music. It was also about living and surviving in spite of everything. It's unlikely, but the same street cred that helped define his career is now used as leverage by prosecutors who claim that OTF is a hybrid organization that blurs the boundaries between crime and music. If Durk is found guilty, the impending trial might be a game changer. Faces the terrible prospect of serving the remainder of his life behind bars. Even if he is found not guilty of some of the allegations, the harm to his reputation may not be irreparable, but there are still some Hope supporters who maintain that he is innocent, or at least redemptive potential might support him. With the trial approaching and the anxiety evident for someone who once assured a judge he would never again appear in court, the issue is whether Durk can weather the storm without losing everything he has worked so hard to build. Considering that Durk's path from the streets of Chicago to international fame has not been simple, this most recent chapter may be the most difficult yet, with his future, legacy, and freedom all on the line. If you like this video, please share it. To access additional content from our channel, click on any of the videos on your screen. Don't forget to hit like. For more, click the bell symbol and subscribe.